Okay, welcome back to Epicus Gamicus Metallicus, here for our new year-by-year show. And I should first explain that for the first 10 years of this, Sean's not going to be here because he doesn't know much about 70s rock. So I brought in my classic rock expert here, my friend Luke.
What's up?
And he is very much into 70s classic rock, so...
That I am.
And I don't think this first period is going to be less metal, because Luke isn't a metalhead. He'll listen to the light metal, but he prefers middle-of-the-road classic rock, right?
Right.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we each brought 3 albums per year, and there'll be a total of 5. So 2 of ours are guaranteed in, and the third one is questionable. We'll have a discussion and see which one comes out on top. And this is going to be from 68 to 2017. So this will be 68. Here we go. All right, what's your first album?
I've got the Beatles, the White Album.
Good choice.
It's just kind of like... It's a very seriously varied sound for them.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
kind
that's a real interesting album.
Yeah. Especially with the controversy on Revolution 9. Apparently, if you play it backwards, John Lennon says that Paul is dead.
So that paranoia with the Beatles, or not paranoia, just the
Conspiracy.
Mystery. Yeah, conspiracy. Yeah, before we did this episode, I haven't actually listened to this album much, but it's got a lot of good songs on it.
Yeah.
Like
It's a lot of their big hits.
Yeah. I guess I'm more familiar with Sgt. Pepper's and Hard Day's Night albums. So.
Right, yeah.
And this album's a bit intimidating, being a double album.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of different sounds in it. Like, you can hear the different influences, like Beach Boys influence on Back in the USSR.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of country influence, and some influence from British folk music, I guess.
Yep.
And then you've got Helter Skelter, which is like
That's
early
almost
metal.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like Judas Priest. Although I think there's another song that sounds even more like Judas Priest. I can't remember which one it is, though. Just the way the beginning of the song starts with this super heavy distorted guitar. Shame I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I can't either, man.
Oh, well. All right, I guess we'll move on to my first, which is The Kinks Are the Village Green Preservation Society by the Kinks. It's an interesting choice. That's actually one I switched to later on in making this. But it's a real interest. It's more because I feel like the Kinks need a spot, because the Kinks are one of the most underrated 60s bands.
Yeah.
They really get forgotten under the shadow of Stones and the Beatles and all that.
But it's kind of like their late 60s stuff, at least I feel like, doesn't really show the basis of the kind of a 60s band they were.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of like 2 sides of the Kinks. There was the first part with the You Really Got Me guitar thing.
Yeah.
Which means they always get associated with metal, even though they weren't really just one song.
Right.
Because really they're a pop band. I mean, you listen to some of their later work, and it's closer to like Blur from the late 90s. So
Right.
it's really interesting. And the best song on this album is the title track, obviously, but I'll let you listen to that for yourself. So, your number 2?
That would be Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yep, gotta have some CCR, right?
Yep.
We would not... Yeah, I was actually really glad you put this on here, because Creedence need to be on the list.
Definitely.
What songs are on this album? I've forgotten.
Got Susie Q, which is one of their big hits. I Put a Spell on You, which is actually a cover.
Yeah, by Screaming Jay Hawkins.
That's right. Yep.
That's a really interesting song to start a CCR album with.
Yeah.
Almost as weird as I think Hanoi Rocks started an album with a CCR song. I think it must have been Up Around the Bend.
Oh,
and it's a glam metal band playing CCR, and you're just like, what? I'm so confused. Yeah, definitely a good album.
Yeah.
Although it
Yeah.
doesn't actually have any of my favorite CCR songs on it.
Oh, yeah.
No Up Around the Bend or was Run Through the Jungle CCR?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Or what's the other one? Fortunate Son.
Hmm.
The weird thing about CCR is I think they're not actually from the South, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're from California, but
yeah,
they're
Southern
like
California.
so they are from us South, but not the right South.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a good point. Yeah.
It's ironic the best Southern rock band isn't from the South, but there you go. All right, so my number 2 is The Book of Taliesin by Deep Purple. And you're going to be hearing a lot of Deep Purple if you listen to this stuff, because huge Deep Purple fan. Um, and not many people listen to the Mark I era of Deep Purple, which is very different from the Mark II era, which is just the classic era with Smoke on the Water and Highway Star and all that. But before that, they were more classical, like progressive. They used a lot of classical violin and stuff like that, often compared to Vanilla Fudge in that manner. Although I'd say Deep Purple did what Vanilla Fudge did much better than Vanilla Fudge, but
Yeah, I'd say so.
it's
Yeah.
debatable. And they used a lot of covers in this period.
Yeah, they actually covered Beatles' "We Can Work It Out," and I was surprised about that.
Oh yeah, that's one of their better covers. What else did they do? Oh, there's a Neil Diamond cover, which is "Kentucky Woman," and then there's a River Deep Mountain High cover, which is excellent. Very, very expansive cover.
Really is.
I mean, the original was still still has a big sound to it, but Deep Purple kind of,
It's kind of made it their own.
yeah. And yeah, you listen to this album and it kind of takes you a second to associate the songs with their original version.
Yeah, yeah, it
Because they're
does.
just so good at making them into something unique.
If it hadn't been for the lyrics, I wouldn't have caught that Beatles song.
Yeah, definitely. Your number, what we got, 3?
I've got "Beggar's Banquet" here by the Rolling Stones.
Well, there had to be some Stones in there somewhere, right?
Definitely.
That's the album with Sympathy for the Devil on it, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, Street Fighting Man, Stray Cat Blues.
Oh, yes. Of course, Sympathy for the Devil if you ever played Black Ops, along with
Yeah.
Fortunate Son, right?
Uh,
And will forever be associated in this generation's mind with shooting the Viet Cong.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Rolling through the rivers in Vietnam.
Yeah.
That was excellent song choice by.
It really was. Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of makes you associate that game more with popular music than you should when it's only 2 songs.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the
that's
game
kinda
is just soundtrack normally, but they put those 2 songs in and they just resonate with you so much that you just remember them. All right, I guess I'm on my last one, which I picked Electric Ladyland by the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Oh yeah,
Definitely had to have some Hendrix in here somewhere, right?
definitely.
And I always find it funny with the that technically the Jimi Hendrix Experience are a British band,
Yeah.
even though Hendrix
yeah.
is from Washington.
Yeah.
It's one of those strange things. But I guess he had to really come to the UK to make
Get
his name.
recognized. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess he needed he needed some British musicians because he kind of had a style which was probably closer to what the British were doing than what was going on in America.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about this period, but America just sort of stagnated in the 60s, didn't it?
Yeah. They kind of.
I mean, there was the Beach Boys, but everybody else was kind of rock and roll ended, and then everything just fell apart.
I mean, really, I think if it hadn't been for the British invasion, music would have gone back to pre-50s.
Yeah, we probably would have ended up just country music, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's true.
What album? Of course, this is another double album, isn't it? Oh, and this has the All Along the Watchtower cover, which
Oh yeah,
just took Bob Dylan's cover and made it into something.
I've actually read that when
Better.
Dylan performs that song now, he does it electric like Hendrix.
Oh yeah, he's got to do it slightly louder.
Yeah.
That's one of the songs you hear, and it's just like that is the '60s right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Same with Sympathy for the Devil and all that stuff.
Yep.
Then, of course, this album also has Voodoo Child, which is
Oh yeah.
just
Song
probably...
gets me pumped, man.
Yeah, that's one of Jimi Hendrix's masterpieces right there. Anything else on here? Although the only thing about Voodoo Child is you always confuse it with Voodoo Chili,
Yeah.
which is nowhere near as good. All right, so I guess now we got to decide what albums are going to get kicked off. I mean, I definitely want to keep Taliesin and Ladyland.
I agree with that.
What are your two that you're going to definitely keep?
I'm definitely keeping Beggar's Banquet and the White Album.
All right. I think I'm going to give you CCR because, to be honest, Village Green Preservation Society's a little weak. So that's what is that? 68. We'll be back in 2 weeks with 69. Goodbye.